this country as well. A hadith that I wanted to mention here, which is relating to social circles, was a hadith narrated in, which is an authentic hadith, which is a saying of the Prophet. It says, "The example of a good companion and a bad one is like the bearer of musk and the worker on the bellows, or a blacksmith." So the bearer of musk would give you some, you might buy some from him, or you may enjoy the fragrance of the musk, whereas the person who's working in a blacksmith or working on the bellows might spoil your clothes and with sparks from his bellows, or leave you with a bad smell. So that, to me, this hadith basically is saying the importance of the social circles that you choose to stay in. So and the inevitable effect that the people will have around you. So if you choose good company, then they'll inevitably affect you in a good way, and if you choose bad company, then they'll also affect you in a bad way. I thought I'd move on to another issue that, to me, it was actually a big problem that I faced in terms of a dilemma, not necessarily a problem. I wasn't sure what the right way to do it, go about it was. And I think for those of you, I thought I'd begin, so we're still talking about social interaction, but maybe interaction with the opposite gender. Medicine isn't necessarily the same as other other courses, because whereas in other courses you may be able to sort of keep your head down and stick to yourself, in medicine you're forced to work in groups, you're sent on attachments, sometimes outside of Bristol, so you have to, so if you're forced or you're put in a position where you have to live with people that you don't know, and sort of mixed accommodation as well. And I've seen situations where some brothers have been put sort of on their own with 5 other girls, etc., and I've been put in a situation where so it's just me and another person and another girl, so it can get some sort of quite complicated sometimes. And I think I wanted to start off with saying a few of the ground rules that Islam puts down. And some of these are the verses in chapter 24, which say that say to the believing men that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty. And then it says also, the following verse says, "And say to the believing women that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty, and they should not display their beauty, and that they should cover themselves, draw veils over their chests, and not to display their beauty as well." So these are just some of the things, among other, I didn't want to mention everything, but among other hadith or narrations of the Prophet and verses in the Quran, which says some of the ground rules that we should, lower our gaze. When you're speaking to the opposite gender, obviously speak with respect, not to try and be seductive in the way you speak, and also covering yourself is a major thing as well in our religion. And so my understanding of the situation, and obviously this is open to interpretation, I could be wrong, but so in terms of talking professional relationships, gathering together. At the time of the Prophet, the women and men used to go to the marketplace. They used to communicate with each other. In terms of educational gatherings, they used to sit together in groups, not necessarily with barriers. They didn't have any barriers, and so they used to have open discussions, and people used to ask questions. And I think so we can draw a parallel here with our time at university. We're here for an educational purpose. Lecture theatres, other educational gatherings, even working in Islamic society. And these are all things that I think were permissible at the time. And we should go about things in the best, using the best of our manners, or in good conduct. I wanted to mention a hadith here, which says that the Prophet ﷺ said that the deeds that are heaviest in terms of worth in the Day of Judgment is good conduct or good manners. So basically, I think a lot of the time, sometimes brothers and sisters, when they interact, they can be a bit sort of in the interest, or when brothers try and be a bit more religious, they can sometimes be a bit more rude in the way they interact. And I think this hadith sort of tells us that there's no excuse for being rude. So you should always try and be as polite and as nice to each other. but it's also maintaining these barriers that the religion sets down. But at the end of the day, there isn't sort of a clear definition in Islam, from what I understand, of saying, you know, what you can necessarily do and what you can't do. It doesn't tell you, you know, you can specifically go to such a situation or you can't. There's a line that I think each one of us has to decide where to draw this line, and so decide that, you know, I want to go to these situations, but I think it's wrong to go to these situations, the other situations. And I don't think sort of I or anyone else can make this decision for you. You need to come to this conclusion yourselves. Another topic that I wanted to raise was sort of appearance. And this isn't necessarily sort of the most important thing in our religion, but one of the brothers wanted me to bring this up. I wanted to just say in general, there is something in our religion that says we have to respect sort of the place we're staying in, or the laws of the land that we're staying in. And also, if you're sort of the contract that you draw with or working in hospital, there are certain guidelines and rules as to the dress code, etc. And I think, as a general principle, we should respect these rules and we should try and follow them as much as possible. In terms of the beard, which is an issue that I was asked to raise, the Islamic perspective, I did sort of try and read up about this, and there are a number of hadith that say to the brothers that they should trim the mustache and grow the beard. That was one of the authentic hadiths that was said by the Prophet. And I was actually surprised to hear that, in fact, all the schools of thought in Islam actually say that it's wrong to actually shave the beard. So it's strongly, I'm not sure if that would sort of qualify as compulsory, but I think it's at least very strongly recommended that the brothers grow their beards. In my experience, I mean, I chose to do it in my 5th year. I did it because I looked around me and I saw a lot of white people actually doing it, and I thought to myself, you know, what excuse do I have for not doing it? These people who don't really have a sort of religious reason for doing it, we're doing it, and I didn't really have an excuse, so I thought, you know, I should really do it. And I haven't faced any difficulty, to my knowledge. And I mean, you could say I'm not as dark as some brothers, but I don't think, I've never heard of a brother who's actually faced difficulties for growing the beard. I don't know if anyone would want to sort of contribute by saying some of the difficulties they may face, but I think in terms of this misconception, there could be a misconception in the West that people think, you know, beards are associated with extremism, being unclean, sort of that sort of thing. But I think we should work to sort of dispel these misconceptions. I just finished the point. But basically, we dispel these misconceptions and show people that the Prophet used to, you know, tend to his beard, used to clean his beard. If we go about it the right way, hopefully we can change this sort of general misconception. What did you want to say?
You seem to open up the floor to some of the experiences with beards. Well, I used to have quite a short beard for a long time, all my time in university. And that was never a problem. And then last summer I decided to grow it a little bit longer. And I was really scared because my first unit this year is Obs and Gynae, which is obviously quite an intimate thing as well. And obviously guys have a lot of trouble kind of building a rapport anyway with patients, especially to the point of having to do like an intimate examination. And then you hear all these consultants saying in our introductory week about, oh, you know, for guys it's obviously difficult, but you know, if you keep getting, you know, refuted, or if you keep getting refused, then maybe we've got to discuss about why that's happening. I took that as like, I can almost see the consultant looking at me and like, you know, give me a wink, you know, as in like, you wait, son. So I was really scared. I was thinking, well, how is this gonna work out? Am I gonna have to trim my beard again? And actually, alhamdulillah, this year I haven't had any problem at all. Even though I've had a long beard. If anyone's ever refused me, it's because I've been a man, like without even looking at me. Yeah. Otherwise, like you're as long as you like dress well, you know, you smell good, you look good, you know, but you know, taking care of everything else. If you look completely dishevelled and you look like a joker, then that's what you're gonna come out with. But if you know, if a beard itself, alhamdulillah, if any brother that I've come across that said that that for them has been, oh, you know, it's a professional career, you know, and I personally, and I've done probably the most, like, the worst thing you could do with a beard, you know, and it's been okay so far. The only problem I had is in theatre, when one of the consultants was asking me about, like, the safety issues, like, you know, what's the official rulings, and I'm like, I'm not sure, but what... Yeah, well, I just wore a mask, isn't it? I just wore a mask and made sure that completely covered my beard.
I honestly think that a lot of the time we actually, you know, think, or fear for the worst, or sort of think badly of people, or sort of expect the worst to happen, when in fact I think in this country especially, I think people, if someone actually discriminated against you because of your beard, you could actually hold them accountable, and I think that sort of people take that quite seriously for something like that to happen. You're probably less likely to be discriminated against in this country than even Muslim countries. So in my country, I think you probably get more trouble for having a beard than even in this country. I wanted to mention a story. It's actually a verse, but it's talking about the story. Which roughly translates as that. I'll just give you a background of the story. This is when the Prophet ﷺ actually left, or was driven out from Mecca by. He was driven out from Mecca by the people, by his own people, and he had to migrate to Medina. And at sort of during his migration, he spent some time in this cave called Thawr, and he had Abu Bakr with him, which was his closest companion. And they were really scared because the non-believers were chasing them, and they were sort of, they came to this cave and they wanted to kill him, but they sort of, you know, they didn't recognize that the Prophet had entered the cave. I didn't want to go into too much detail. So the verse in the Quran says that for Allah indeed helped him when the unbelievers drove him out. He had no more than one companion. They too were in the cave. This is the cave of Thawr, and he said to his companion, which is the Prophet ﷺ, "Have no fear, for Allah is with us." Then Allah sent down His peace upon him and strengthened him with forces that they saw not. And basically, what I was trying to say with this is that what the Prophet did was he planned his hijrah, or his migration to Medina, as much as he could. He got the best person to navigate the way for him. He went sort of a different way so the non-believers couldn't find him. He planned it in advance, and then when he did everything he could, he said sort of he had peace and tranquility, and he said Allah is with us, and he had sort of belief that Allah would help him. So I think, so just to bring this to what I was saying before, is that so if we are worried about the way we look, we should do the best we can in terms of preparation. Like we said, tend to your looks and make sure you look smart, and sort of try and dispel the misconceptions by being nice to people and explaining things to people. And then at the end of the day, all you can do is say, I leave the rest to Allah. I did my bit, and have sort of tranquility and peace that Allah will help you. To my sisters, I don't feel like I'm the best person to talk about this really, because I don't really have much experience with wearing hijab. But I think the same principles apply. Sort of, obviously, adhere to the dress code when you can. The Islamic perspective is that, to my knowledge, that the hijab is compulsory on all women, that they should cover their hair and their bodies, with exception to the palms and the face. And sort of, again, the misconception that hijab, these women are oppressed, they're forced to wear hijab by their husbands, all these things, the woman who's wearing a hijab is reserved and she's not outspoken. I think we can, as Muslims, we can dispel this misconception by showing people that, yes, I wear the hijab, but also I'm so outspoken, I have my opinions, I'm educated. And again, the same thing that I don't know, maybe if our sisters could contribute with this and tell us, whether they're facing difficulties with the hijab. But I think often a lot of people think, that the worst is going to happen when actually there isn't really that much discrimination. But I don't know if anyone